Good evening. We have a couple things we want to run over with you guys real quick. The chair will ask that, the chair will ask the speaking representative or applicant to come forward for the project. Please state your name and your title clearly, please, so we can take the minutes. Briefly describe the project and or your request. The board may have questions and wish to discuss staff points. A motion will be made. If the request is approved, it will move on to the next step. If you're unclear as to next steps, please reach out to the staff the following business day, and we'll be able to answer any questions for you. Thank you.
Okay, so we are waiting for the other board member to join before we can start the meeting. The other board member will be joining remotely, so we will see them ideally up on the screen when they join. Sorry, he's here. Oh, okay, okay, there he is. All right, Paul, you're here?
Maybe you can you hear me now, Carl?
Yes, I think if I remember correctly, the city attorney has stated we have to see you. I'm pretty sure that's what was said to me in a previous attempt to be remote.
Oh, okay, really? Okay, gotcha.
So hopefully that's okay. But
I mean, it was kind of giving me fits that maybe do a download. So I'm like, okay, normally I don't have to do that. I just click on join the meeting and move on. But
I might be paraphrasing something that was said to me, but I remember in the planning and zoning meeting, in order to have a quorum, to have a person online count, that they had to be visible in the room. So.
All right, am I visible or not?
Not yet.
Okay, so I need to find the switch setting to turn on the camera. There it is. Start video. Allow.
Hey, man, thanks.
All right, can you see me now?
Yes, thank you very much.
There you go.
All right, with that, we're going to call the October 16, 2025 City of Brentwood, Missouri Architectural Review Board meeting into order. I am the acting vice chair. Our chairman is out tonight, so I'll be running the meeting. So the meeting has been called to order. Roll call. Carl Carlin, I am here. Paul Turner.
Yes, I'm here virtually.
And Matt Foreman, not present. First thing, so we've already had our city official read the way the meeting works, but just to go over it again, there were some questions, I believe, last time. There's some board business where we do meeting minutes and other things like that. Then there's the applicants who have their business to bring forward. We ask you to step forward, introduce yourself, name, address on the record with the microphone on. We're going to briefly have the projects described, in this case, relatively briefly, because these are existing projects. If there's questions from the board, those of us here will ask those questions, and then at some point, we'll also ask anybody in the audience from the community if they have any comments they'd like to make relative to the projects. And then after that, there may be some additional debate. At some point, a motion is made, and then we up or down, and then depending on the result of that, it goes on to the city or not. Is that clear? that make sense to everybody, how that works? Okay. And I believe, no, that's a different board, sorry, well, that's a different thing. All right, so meeting minutes, I have no questions. Paul, do you have any questions?
I did not get that one downloaded, but I don't think I was present, so I will defer to your advice.
So I would move to approve the meeting minutes as they exist.
I will second that.
Roll call, Paul Turner,
Yes.
Carl Carlin, yes. Meeting minutes are approved. So moving on to new business, which I think is actually possibly old business, but 2002 South Brentwood is the project. So if you're here for that project, if you want to approach the podium and discuss the project with us, I would appreciate that. So if you want to go ahead, and I'll pull up the drawings. If you want to introduce yourself and the project, please go ahead.
Yes, hi, good evening, and thank you for giving me opportunity to express my response to the ARB. From the last time, the very beginning, we turned in I am the resident of Brentwood for almost 20 years here, and I needed to get addition for myself because, mainly is I don't have the bedroom and shower room in the first floor. And I decided if I want to stay continuously, and I need to have addition. So that's how the project began. Everything doing very well until the day the Chris kind of pulled me out and say, hey, you need to pull a permit for this another ARB review for your exterior tile. And I say, oh, I didn't know that. Because I thought that the time we turn in, I have no idea what is going to be for the outside material, but we just throw in the siding as to get the turn in the permit. So get to that day, I was kind of shocked, like, oh, this has become a problem. And so the tile, of course, my profession is interior designer, and I got quite a lot of information about the tiles, and so I attend how to do the right job for this weather. We have a snow, we have ice, everything. So I don't want to have one day it's become a problem. So I inquire a lot of information before I started, but I had no idea I had to get another ARB review again. No idea at all. So I apologize that I didn't do that for purpose, But mainly is I was thinking about it would be cool to have a tiles on exterior, and I read an article about the porcelain tiles become very upscale, commercial, residential. That I don't know yet, but the information is like it's going to be very, very cool for luxury residential also, as maybe like a multiple unit. So I thought that's kind of cool. So I started, get that information and consulted with a contractor, and they all very excited. And I thought it should be very exclusive with the design, because that's my job. So that's all about. So I'm coming here to see, since I already done that, I really have no clue I need to get this approval. So I want to ask you, with your guidance, what should I do? So, as far as the installation, we follow manufacturer procedure. So everything is I got a warranty from them. The tiles made in USA, from Dow tile. And they have a different basic color. So I thought it was very cool to have 3 or 4 together. And, that's how I come up with this idea right now. And the job is done. Then I got Chris kind of request that. So it's not before. I wish it's before. I have no idea to get this started. So I'm just ask everybody to see if I have any solution. You give me guidance.
Thank you, and I don't want to cut anybody off. And you can stay if you want. At some point, we will ask the gathered, if you're here for the meeting, if you have thoughts, if you're a neighbor. But at the moment, I understand the situation. Since we had this on the docket, it's clearly a complicated situation, right? So we've done some thinking on it. There's a limited array of actions we as a board can take as well, right? So I've had my thoughts. I'm Paul. Everything's remote. If you have some questions, Paul, am I still on the meeting? I can't tell. Yes, I am. I'd like to hear if you have any thoughts, Paul, before I say anything.
So I don't think I was at the original approval of this for the original project. In the original project, I did look at the drawings that I think were uploaded, and those look fine and are standard construction. I mean, my first question is are there any samples that were brought today?
Yes, there are samples. I can hold them up to the camera if you'd like. Yeah.
Well, I'll defer to your comment as to
All right.
what you're finding with those. And I mean, I will say that professionally, I don't recommend tile finishes in St. Louis. They may be acceptable in other locations, but I'm just not. It's not something I typically would do. So don't. So that was the one thing. The next question, I was looking at the photograph of what's up, and I'm trying to understand if those windows that are actually in place are. I mean, they look like they're a flange system that was then. Um, I don't. I mean, they look almost like they were put on top of it rather than the way you would normally install it. So I'm just not sure about that either. One of the questions normally what we do is ask for a trim around the windows, and I mean, like a, what am I trying to say? So it looks like the flange is on the outside rather than where it needs to be in the plane behind it. I mean, so that's a detail thing. So I don't know if that is actually supposed to be the trim that we would normally call for around one of these windows or not. And that's one of my other questions as to if it actually, I mean, it doesn't, currently the finish doesn't meet what was approved. And then, so those are kind of detail items. So the other thing I would say is that the character of the addition doesn't fit the character of the house, which is normally something I look for consistency in the neighborhood. And then as far as the neighbors are concerned, I mean, so you have a complete contrast between the two. Um, you know, we have accepted what I would call unique structures, but usually they're from the ground up and everything is cohesive. This particular one is not cohesive. And I mean, like I said, I'm unfamiliar with the actual finish. I'm going to refrain from personal comments on it, but it's not something I would typically do or recommend in a neighborhood like this. So I don't know if that's helpful or not. I mean, the plan, the footprint, if it was accepted and meets zoning, that's all right. But to get a change like this, especially that comes in after the fact. I mean, we tell everybody that walks in, that's why I'm a little surprised that there would be a comment that you didn't know. Is that I think we tell everybody when they come in that, if you're undecided and you're going to make a change that's beyond the colors that are selected or the materials that are selected, you have to resubmit. And I know we say that for every meeting, so that's just a caveat of mine from the way I'm going to approach this. Is that we always say, I mean, I say that to everybody that says, I just don't know if this is really what I'm going to put up, but we say, okay, pick something and move on. So that's my opinion.
Thank you. Yeah, so I think we have a challenge, right? There is a process, and I take at face value if somebody remembered or didn't know. I understand all of that. Nevertheless, we have a process that we are also sort of required to follow as a board and as a city, and that process is that ideally, before construction begins, right, that the actual intent of construction is documented and given to the city, which we then vote on. And we, as a board, can only vote on what we're presented, right? So we can't extrapolate or guess or wonder what somebody might do. We can only vote on what is presented to us, right? And for obvious reasons, that's the way it should be, right? So, we did have these drawings, and the explanation of them being sort of a placeholder, notwithstanding, they're significantly different than what was built, right? So I do want to hear, and so this is what we voted on, and I'm unable to comment on the misunderstanding, about whether it was meant to be a placeholder or not. I can only comment on what I was told and in the process, which was this is what we're voting on, right? So I have just a couple of thoughts, and then I'm happy to hear. You mentioned your own work as a designer. I've always felt that, certainly my role on the board is not to legislate taste, right? That's not what I'm here to do. My own personal taste might be significantly different than someone else's on the board or yours, or I don't know. So that's not really how I approach it. I approach it, and so everything you said from a design point of view, something modern, something unique, something personal, all of that is meaningful to me. So I don't want to just dismiss that. But we as a board have other priorities, right? So there's neighborhood context, both in terms of scale, right? Massing and appearance within limits, right? Paul referenced some of the sort of finish trim details we look for, and the idea is that there's a consistent level of quality across the projects. They're not all the same. Many projects are very different, right? But we are looking to maintain sort of a level of quality because one of the purviews of the board is to protect property value, right, in town, right? That's one of the stated goals of having an ARB, right? It's a nebulous concept, I'll admit, right? But that's nevertheless one of the things we're asked to do. So when I was thinking about this project, it was less do I like it or not like it, not relevant, right? It was more, had this come before us in the proper sequence of events, what would have maybe the outcome have been, right? That's one thing. And then the other thing would be we are now currently, now that this is being resubmitted to us, we're being asked to look at it at this moment, right? So that's out of the proper order. That's one thing, right? So it needed to be, submitted before it was built and approved before it was built. So we're out of the proper order, which puts everybody in a bad place, right? Additionally, we are now under residential design guidelines. So the city proposed and adopted over a long period of time a set of design standards and guidelines for residential construction. Those were professionally sourced by folks outside of this body. They were given a public audience. They were given multiple meetings in front of the Board of Aldermen and the Planning and Zoning and this board here. And those documents are now in effect, right? And they don't specifically say something like this is or isn't allowed. They do encourage, close attention to context, right? Close attention to other buildings around, and neighborhood context, right? And so some of the things that come up in that discussion are, there's a large trend toward building two-story homes in neighborhoods where there's lots of one-story homes in Brentwood. We have many neighborhoods that are bungalow and very small, but nevertheless, people want two-story houses, right? So we and the guidelines endeavor to make that work, right? And I think we have a pretty yes-based situation here. Like, we're pretty much voting yes on most things. We don't want to vote no. We want to make sure people can move forward with their projects, right? So that's not our goal to be an impediment. It is our goal, it is our purview to try to keep the city in a contextual basis, with our understanding of that as design professionals like yourself, right? So what am I getting at? I think had this come before the board in the proper order, I'm not sure it would have passed. And given that it didn't come through in the proper order and we're sort of being asked to retroactively approve something that might have already been difficult to approve, I think that puts an even higher standard on evaluating this design. So I can agree with Paul that one of the things we do routinely ask of our applicants, because we do see lots of vinyl siding homes. We have lots of brick homes, and like your front part of your home is brick. We have lots of brick homes. We have lots of siding homes. People are very sensitive in certain neighborhoods about that topic. We have lots of conversations about it. But one of the things we ask for is some minimum level of detail, of finish to the project. So that's where the comment about trim comes in, right? It seems like a small thing, but you'll see lots of homes that don't have any attempt at it, and that kind of cheapens the look of the house, right? So we kind of ask for those levels of detail to be included. In this case, you know, it's significantly different. It's significantly, you know, challenging to the sort of some of the standards that have been set. Again, not a matter of personal taste. I also agree with Paul's comment that, you know, a lot of times we'll have a homeowner bring an addition to a house, you know, sometimes in a sensitive neighborhood, sometimes, you know, like my own not very sensitive neighborhood, and the attempt is made to harmonize the addition with the house. So you'll see lots of notes like match existing, right? You know, shingles match existing, right? Siding match existing, right? You know, that isn't an objective good. Like, matching existing is not an objective good. It's just a strategy to be contextual, right? So in this case, not at all, right? It's very different from front to back. Also a valid approach from a design point of view. But it does change the sort of character of the neighborhood potentially. And I am curious if there's any neighbors here who have opinions, and I want to hear that. So that's where we stand. Like, I feel it's through no fault of anyone's. I'm not suggesting anything improper, but it's not fair really to other applicants who have followed the process and, you know, maybe limited what they thought they could do of their own personal taste because they wanted to stay within the bounds of the process. So to sort of reverse engineer this one after other folks followed that process is not necessarily fair to those folks, right? And so I think fairness is a core, for me, it's a core thing that I should be doing on this board, right? I think we should be fair and we should be reasonable. So I'm concerned about that. I'm concerned that reverse engineering a decision on a project like this is not fair to all the other applicants, if that makes sense, right? So those are the ways that I'm thinking about this project. I'm happy to shut up for a second and hear any comments back.
You received the second set of the update with raise the height on, you know, the main, because it's not two-story. It's just higher, you know, the ceiling, that's all. So do you have a second say about that? I thought of my architect submitted a second time. Have you ever received that? I'm not talking about the exterior one. It's just the one, it should be a, kind of, the peak should be the same as the second story, like my existing house. Kind of accommodated to each other.
Yeah, and I don't know, these are the drawings that I have access to from the city website.
Maybe you didn't have an update one.
I have two versions of them.
He submitted
Yeah.
a second time.
The drawings that he's showing you here is what was submitted at the original ARB meeting and submitted and approved at the original ARB meeting, so.
Told me he submitted a second time with the higher on, you know, the right, if you look at the face to the side, on the right side should be higher. So they didn't show that.
Well, and to be clear, and we may be opening additional cans of worms, but my understanding, I'm not looking at it for the massing, to be honest with you. Like, that was approved. I don't, no one is, no one that I have heard has said that we're challenging the massing of the building or the scale of the building. It's expressly the exterior materials that have come up to be resubmitted, as I understand it. If there's additional changes, those maybe also need to be discussed, because it hasn't happened often. It has happened where we have it's usually a builder who will sort of just go rogue and change something that they want to change without the process, right? And I mean, I think we can all understand, like, either there's a process or there's not, right? And if there's a process, then you follow it. If there isn't, then there's no process, right? So, you know, that's just not, it's not fair. You know, I'm not saying there's any intentionality. I have no idea. It's not my thing to say. But it needs to follow process, and so we need to follow process as well, right? Like, in order for us to do our job professionally and fairly, we have to follow process, right? So, so to your point, I'm not questioning that. I don't know if it's taller or not. I haven't looked. You might not want me to. So, like, I think we're really looking at, because it is different. I mean, now that you've pointed it out, right? This mass that we're looking at on the picture here is different from the massing that is suggested in the drawings, right? So that is another thing that needed to be submitted and approved prior to it being built, right? And those are two separate problems. Those are two, and they would have separate resolutions. And I don't know that it's our purview here on the board to suggest those solutions. I think that's a designer issue, honestly. So we're here to approve or not approve, you know, not necessarily to redesign buildings for people. That wouldn't be fair, and we could never get our job done if we had to do that, right? But there is a difference. You have correctly pointed it out. So that would probably also have to be understood at some level. So
Well, would you kind of make sure, because I was told that the second set, before even we started, was submit to the city.
yeah,
So
and I'll
I'm
go
kind of
through.
surprised to see
Yeah.
that picture is not complete. What was updated before even we put a tile. So I kind of a little bit, because I wasn't the one to submit it. I thought the architect did it, but he didn't really watch the whole process of the construction.
So I will say, you know, anything can happen. It's a big world, right? So these are the documents that I downloaded from the website, which I understand are the only ones that exist. I think we agree on that. That said, I mean, I think we're always willing to go back and look again. But at the moment, that's what we have, right? So it's entirely possible that this additional question, it might be more complicated than we're going to sort out tonight, honestly. Because if we have a difference in the massing of the building, we have a difference in the exterior of the building, there's, you know, real issues riding on decisions that are made here. I would not want to vote on something without full information. So if you're genuinely concerned that there may have been another submission that we are not able to see right now, my advice would be that we table this and resolve that issue before we start voting on it. Because, again, as the process should work, when we vote on it, that's it. Right? Like, we have
Well,
voted on
I
it. Yeah.
really don't mind if you know, at this point, I have no idea. The second set never been received. I have no idea. You know, again, the
Yeah.
architect as a worker is completely different than the contractor. Contractor didn't have a chance to come in tonight,
Right.
and I totally rely on them, and I'm happy with the result. It's just that the final decision is from me, because I thought that the tile will be cool to have that as, you know, as a designer view. So in town, I only can find it from just, you know, from the Dow tile.
Yeah.
That's all the material
And
I can see.
for the record, you know, Mr. Turner had some questions about the durability. Those are mostly for interest. Like, we don't really do that. You know, we don't legislate whether it's going to fall apart, or, you know, that's not something that this board does, right? So you know,
The one thing I do want to say about that, though, is, I mean, we've covered that in the recently adopted
yeah,
standards is an issue of
that's true.
material qualities, and if it's not, I mean, if it's installed according to manufacturer's instructions, that's perfectly valid. But I don't know. I'm not, like I said, I don't typically do something like this, and that I think goes to our decision process. I know there was, I don't know where it ended up with regards to exterior insulating finish systems and other stuff like that. But this may fall under the same category as the panelized systems that we said we weren't going to allow. So I just haven't reread the finalized amendments. And because it's happening now, we have to evaluate it according to that versus it being an existing building.
Yes, it does. That makes sense. Yes.
Does come into play in this particular case as to whether it is a valid material to be used.
So I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off. What Mr. Turner is referring to is the design guidelines do list a very short list of non-allowed materials. It's a very short list. I don't have it off the top of my head. We could look at it if we wanted to. I don't believe tile was mentioned in either the pro or the con list, so it doesn't address tile. But it's,
Bring up the fact that the intention of the design guidelines is for a quality material to be used, and maybe it's just fine.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer because I haven't seen the details before.
And I think the other issue we would face, though, is like even if this drawing that's on the screen was tan tile, it's a different argument, right, than this tile, right? So
Yeah, and yeah, so there's things like that that do come into play. One other thing that I would say now that I realize that yes, that is a different size building. I don't think it's changed anything with regards to water remediation or anything like that. I don't know if this drawing got water remediation. I just don't remember the set. So, I would never. I don't know. I'm just bringing that up as that it may impact some of that if there's other changes. So I don't know if there's a set of. I assume there's a set of construction drawings for this something.
yeah, and again, like there's a whole separate process for stormwater, which we have gratefully gotten out of this board. So somebody else does that, and I don't even like talking about it. So I think where we're at right now, given that you think there might be a set that we don't have, I feel like, and just for reference, I did drive by the project, not that long ago. In fact, it is mostly behind the house. It is not really all that evident from the street. That is a fact. It's mostly behind the house. It can be seen from certain angles, and when it can be seen, it is definitely making its presence known. But it is mostly hidden behind the house, so for what that's worth. Hey, Paul, if you don't have anything else, I would maybe ask if there's anybody here in the meeting from the neighborhood.
That's all I was going to say is, I didn't hear it asked if there's anybody there that wants to speak. So.
If that's okay with you, if you have anything else to add.
No, I have nothing.
No, I'm sorry, not you, Paul.
But I understand the pattern can be a very subjective. I understand. But I thought that's my house. And I thought that it's cool to have that. And I used the very, I would say, the very high-end material. It's not just like a pickup from the street or something. It's very, from a manufacturer, it give me a lot of guideline, a lot of the spec, what, is a porcelain tile. It's baking like 2,000 degrees. So I asked a lot of questions before I even started, like a temperature, like coldness, like the snow, ice, everything. So the ground or the membrane, before they put it, everything is go by the procedure. So I will get warranty from manufacturer. At Delta, everybody knows that they make a tires in USA, so I can kind of, in the future, if I get something problem, so they always behind. They will give me any support.
Thank you.
So-
and again, I think.
So I'm just kind of very sure that's my house. I want to make it really nice for me for all the rest of the life, and that's basically I'm going to live there. I'm going to make myself happy. It's not for renting or to let the other please some other people. I'm sure. I know what you are coming from, you have to be, you want to make sure as a unity with the community. But sometimes I can see sometimes to make something is interesting. To make all the variety is you don't have to be the same as your neighbor. That's the way I look at it. So that's why I didn't even ask a question about it.
Thank you, and I appreciate the comments, I do. Is there anybody from the neighborhood who would like to speak on the project? Please introduce yourself, your name and address.
Christy Morgan.
In front
I
of the
live in
microphone, sorry.
neighborhood.
Yeah.
Oh, I just want to show
Make you go to the microphone because we have to broadcast. Yeah.
I was with May when she purchased it, so I know that it meets the freeze thaw specifications. I also know that May went through great research in order to ensure that it stayed watertight. The picture I showed you is a house that I don't think anybody would have a problem with it being built anywhere. It's stunning, and it's very high-end. There's one, in fact, in Clayton that looks like it's possibly the same type of construction that's selling for $9 million. I think that maybe I'm basically asking the board to look at Brentwood and improve and approving these types of finishes so we don't have a lot more of the vinyl siding. Our neighborhood's completely unique. There's not one house like another. Barb, you're a neighbor in the neighborhood, and you have, what type of house do you have?
A lustron,
And
which
it's,
is, by the way, porcelain. So, and 80 years old.
and it's 4 doors down from
Yeah,
May's.
right.
My house, we've redone it, and it has been a trial of love for the last 7 years. I can see May's house from the back of my house. I think it's fun. If people have a problem with the, particular, if it's going to be a design issue, which we don't seem to think it is, but if it were, there could be some things probably worked out that would make it flow easier. So if that seems to be the issue, that probably should maybe be brought up, because from what I understand in talking to the tile man and all of the things they did, you could probably turn the house upside down and pour water in it and swim in it for the next 20 years. It's going to hold water. So just thought I'd let that be known. And that, I also have some friends in the neighborhood, and we think it's interesting. We love it because I know it's high end. It's not been cheap. It is maybe not to everyone's taste, but it shows people that basically want to have a unique home. And if you look at our neighborhood, you won't find two of anything alike.
Thank you.
And
I'm not sure if I can, because the camera is up there. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Barb Hughes on Urban, and I met May recently and heard about the process that she's going through, and I think it is amazingly innovative, especially when you're dealing with the issue of climate change, and this could be trend-setting. This could be, I just think it's something that should be considered, even if you have to table it tonight. I don't know the details of the process. I don't know all that rigmarole, but I do think it's something that should be considered to be allowed. I love it. And like I said, my porcelain house has stood for 80 years, and restaurant homes have been hit by level 4 tornadoes without coming down. So, I think it's a good thing.
Thank you. Anybody else have a comment? I'm not sure if there's anybody online. Someone has a hand up. I don't think I can allow them to speak. You got it? Thank you. Amber Jordan has their hand up.
That's me. Yeah, my name's Amber. I live on lawn 8780. I have a very clear view of the house from my backyard. And I just want to say I don't have any issue with it all. I think it's kind of cool. If you look at our house, our block, every house in our block is completely different. And then also from the backyard, I can't see that it doesn't look exactly like the front. So that's not something I notice as a neighbor at all. So I don't see a reason not to approve it if it's in your power to do so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else who wants to speak on this one? Paul, do you have any other questions?
No.
So given the confusion about the scale of the building, I'm concerned about that now as well because, we might pass it based on aesthetics, which I'm not saying we will or won't. I'm just saying there's arguments pro and con, but that would not in any way address the discrepancy between the size of the building and that's a whole other issue. So if you're certain that if you think there might be other drawings or there's some confusion in the process, my advice in all honesty would be to hold off on making any decisions right now and find those drawings one way or the other, right? And if those drawings were not submitted, that is a different series of hoops we're going to have to jump through. If they were, then that might alter the process a little. So my recommendation, if anyone can agree with it, Paul and yourself, I think we should table this, search that out, and then move forward the next time. Can we get a yes on that, everybody?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll make a motion. I move to table this project for those stated reasons until the next meeting. Roll call, Paul Turner.
Correct.
Carl Carlin, yes. Okay, so we're gonna do that. Okay, so tell me if I'm right, John. I think you're gonna need to communicate and find the drawings such as they exist and get that sorted. Okay.
I do feel very surprised me when I see that set of the drawing. That wasn't the one we submit. I was kind of a little bit shocked. That's why I kind of bring it up. I can just keep silent and not say anything.
No, you should say
But
something.
but I feel
Yeah.
like what's going on with the drawing is not being updated.
Yeah, so it's important. There's a lot riding on it. Let's get it right.
Yeah, but
So,
I want
yeah.
to kind of make clear that you don't come back to me and say, hey, we found out you didn't do this. And
No,
that."
I think
that's not the case. But obviously, my architect is already calculated exactly what to me. Because I spoke with him many times.
Yeah.
I just make sure we are on the guideline with a 40% of the property.
Yeah, and again, there's a lot of moving parts. There's permeable pavement, which we don't do here. There's the aesthetics of it, which have been discussed. There's the actual technical nature of it, which is a different thing. So there's a lot of moving parts. I think let's communicate and find the drawings one way or the other.
I will do, but I want to kind of shock like this. I saw that.
And that would be a bad situation under which to make a decision. So let's get it sorted. Yeah.
And by the way, my house way back like maybe 19 years ago, that was one of the very kind of fun the model called a gingerbread.
Right.
And you don't see that much, and we appreciate that too. I appreciate the tradition as American because I live here about 50 years already, and I appreciate the contemporary to meet together. That's why I come up with this idea. So you in the front you will see a gingerbread, especially Christmas coming.
And again, just generally speaking, I guess it's personal sentiment. I appreciate as a designer when people try to do interesting things, right? So, but that's a personal feeling. It's not a board feeling, right? Yeah. So.
I apologize. I didn't mean to make this as a problem.
Thank you. Noted. Okay, and we've tabled it, so we're going to talk, and next month we'll come back to it. All right, the next one, thank you, is 8623 Henrietta, front porch renovation. Please come forward and introduce yourself, tell us about your project.
My name is Lilia Morozova, and I'm the homeowner of 8623 Henrietta, and our project is to extend the front porch by approximately 5 feet, remove the old aluminum awning, and build a wooden flat roof over the extended porch and install new 2 6x6 posts to support the roof. That's about it.
Thank you.
That's our neighbor on right. This is the left. This is our house.
So this is neighbor left,
This is neighbor,
neighbor,
and this is neighbor.
and this is your
Neighbor on
house.
the other side. Yeah, this is our house.
Thank you. So the questions we often have with submittals like this, because it's a relatively straightforward proposal. There's plenty of other wider porches that you've already shown us photos of. It's not in my opinion, not a significant change to the character of the house. It's an improvement in terms of the usability of the house because the larger porch will be usable. You're maintaining the sort of connection to the street. The front porch is it's a gesture
Yeah.
toward the public
Right.
sphere. You're only increasing that. You're not removing it or in some way changing that aspect of it. And again, you've mentioned the materials are noted, which is helpful.
Materials to be used. The porch is concrete, so we're just gonna use concrete. Then wooden roof, just regular roof shingles, and metal railing.
Oh, so it's not a wood porch. Okay, sorry. I thought I heard earlier that it was a wood porch.
It's a concrete porch.
Okay, concrete replacement. Gotcha.
Yeah. So thanks, Paul. So the materials to be used, you're saying so just bear with me. Concrete for the actual porch itself.
Right.
Wood. So
For the roof and then the posts.
so are the posts white?
Yeah, we choose just black and white, just very classic.
And so and that's probably fine. It doesn't tell me which things are black and which things are white in the materials. So I just want to make sure I understand.
White roof, white posts, and black railing, black metal railing.
Thank you. And
So
then
is that a white roof tile or white? So is that hatch line there? Is that supposed to be a wood trim or is that a metal awning? I mean, I thought I saw somewhere it said
That will be a wood trim on a new roof. So our existing awning is metal.
Right, gotcha. Okay, so you're putting a low slope wood roof. Carl, can you go back to the photograph for me?
Carl, while you're doing that, can I just ask a question, ma'am? Did I hear you say it's 5 foot from the house? It's sticking out 5 foot? Is that what you said?
From the house,
I may have misunderstood you, but I thought you said it was
it's
5
6
foot.
foot
It's 6 foot.
from
Okay.
the house.
Okay. I thought you said 5 foot. I'm sorry.
So the existing one is 6 foot?
The existing porch is 6 by 8. 6 is the width, and 8 is the length of the porch. So we
yeah.
just
So the existing drawing we have shows.
so we're gonna extend the length of the porch
So this
by
is the proposed.
approximately
drawing.
5 feet, which will make it total 13 feet long.
So honestly, thank you, Paul. Other than those material questions that I just asked, I don't have any other questions.
Well, the one thing, my question, if you go back to the photograph again for me. So what I'm concerned with is, so it's going full width of that front porch. So is it mounted to the board there, or the flashing starts just under there? What I'm trying to figure out is,
There should be another picture that shows the kind of like a side view. There it is. No, not this one. There it
so what
is.
I'm concerned about is that your roof is not going to be what you're looking at as what's shown there, because right now, if it's going to be similar to what's there, that leading edge looks like it's probably lower than the door height. Now, granted, you have a step down, and what most people lean towards doing on these is to make it flush to come and go. And I mean, that's what I'm just, I mean, I don't know that I know it's a detail, but it's also because the detail is going to affect how it's actually built. Does that make sense, Carl? You understand where I'm going with this?
I think so. I mean, I guess
It's more like it's
in the photo, I guess what I'm understanding is like this. Let me go back. Sorry. This you're not looking to change this siding. The siding stays, correct?
No.
That siding goes.
The siding, yeah, that siding stays.
So at this line,
Mm-hmm.
and you can kind of tell that the high end of this awning is essentially just below the line there, right?
Right, yeah,
And
it's
so,
just below the
yeah,
line.
and it looks as if the new one is proposed to do something similar based on this drawing, right?
so if it's a wood frame system, I guess you could do it with 2x6s, but you're basically going to be flush with the door, and the door may not open if you're going to do a 2/12 pitch down to the outer edge. I mean, that's what I'm concerned with, is that you're going to run into detailing problem, and that means that it's going to go up, and it's not going to be exactly what you're seeing where it goes side to side.
And so, yeah, so it's possible. In honestly, the distance you're covering could be 2x4s. It doesn't have to be 2x6, right? And we're getting way over what we should be talking about here.
Well,
So but yeah.
I look at it from how is it built, and is it going to look like what is shown?
Right. So that's why I'm saying
it
like
can be 2x4s. I mean,
the intent. So the intent of the. So if I understand what
That's-
Paul's saying, the intent of this is to maintain that line. You have siding up here. You have brick down below. There's a line where those two things meet. You're trying to get the top of your new angled awning to be at that same line, right? It's coming down. So I guess what I'm hearing, Paul, you asking is like the meat of this thing here, which is not it's not really drawn in much detail. There's some thickness of stuff that happens in here. If that thickness of stuff pushes this edge down to the point where you can't even use your door, then this is going to force this whole thing up. And if you force the whole thing up, then that's a different thing than we're probably voting on, I think is what Paul is saying. Did I get that right?
It's going to get, yeah, I mean, you're going to basically clip the ends off. It'll have to be more of a hip, which if that's what you want to do,
well, that will be.
that's just, you just have to be aware that there's stuff that's going to change versus what we're seeing here. So to me, it's more of it's a shallow hip or something like that. And again, if that's what you want, I don't have a problem with that. I'm partly both because we approve something, but we don't want to do the same thing we had on the last one, where it's coming after we've approved something and then it doesn't work. So it's just as easy to discuss some of this right now. So do you have your contractor there?
Yes, we do have a contractor. So that,
But he's not there.
no, he's not here, no. So that would be, the roof would be similar to what our neighbor has. That white house, that white painted house. They do have a similar roof. So we kind of like looked at what they had, and that's what we want to do.
Gotcha. Okay. Guess there's no side detail on that.
Yeah, it looks like it's there's some kind of enclosure out there.
Yeah.
Looks like, but it also looks relatively thin. So
All right, I'll go with that.
you'll roll with it.
That's
Oh,
fine.
okay, thank you. Thanks for the question.
I mean, so we have the gutter on the front.
Not drawn, no. So I could do some markups if we want to do that.
Yeah, so basically we're looking at probably a white gutter and trim. I mean, if it's just, I mean, wouldn't recommend doing it without gutter, but you can. Possibly could.
You agree? We agree there's a gutter there on the frontage?
I'm sorry.
We're agreeing that there's a gutter. I'm noting the drawings to show a gutter that isn't shown in the drawings.
Yeah, there is,
Okay.
there is a gutter, yeah,
Yeah.
right.
All right.
And white column, white detailing on the sides. So what is the black? The black is for just the rail, right?
Just, yeah, for railing. And the post would be white.
I'm fine with the bare concrete for you. I mean, for the sides, as long as it's not an open spot underneath. So
And then roof shingles are going to attempt to match existing. Is that?
They will be black, yeah, just like our house shingles.
That.
match everything. There you go. All right. So, oh, have we asked if there's any neighbors?
Not yet. Thank you. I was about to do that. Is there anybody from the neighborhood who would like to weigh in on this project? Please give us your name and approach the podium.
I'm Matthew Daniels. I live at 8619 Henrietta. I'm one of those houses is mine, not the white one. I just want to come here and support the project. The other one is mine. And since you mentioned how the roof would be attached, that under the lowest strip of siding on these houses is the exterior beam that starts the series of ceiling joists that go across it. So, yeah, so if they need to strip off that lowest strip of siding,
I see
they
what
can
you're
just
saying,
beam it on there. Yeah, bolt it on there. It should work just fine. And it's great. Victor spends a lot of time making the neighborhood beautiful. So I just wanted to come down and say I think this project is awesome.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
Anybody else? I don't see anybody online. Whitney, I know who she is. So unless there's anybody else, Paul, do we have a motion?
I'll move to approve as submitted.
I think
I
as
mean, it's modified. Sorry.
yeah. Thank you. I'll second calling the roll. Paul Turner.
Yes.
Carl Carlin, yes. So that's approved. As noted, so this noted copy will go to the city, and then that's what you'll discuss with them for the permit and all the rest. So thank you. So that concludes new business. There is no old business. So I think the next order of business is the building official director's report.
We're looking at changing the dates for the November meeting. Looks like right now 12/9 might be the date. And then we have, I think, was it one or two submittals? Yeah, two? One, two? Two submittals already for that meeting.
Possibly a third based on the
yes, and
outcome
a third
of
for
this
the-
meeting, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
for
So we don't know the exact date of the next meeting because the holidays start to confuse things around this time of year. But early December is what it sounded like. So when you guys discuss where the drawings stand, that gives us actually a little bit more time to get it right? So I think that's probably not a bad thing. So. Well, all the issues are still. We have not addressed any of the issues. We have not resolved any of the issues. They're all still open. But you had mentioned that there were possibly drawings that have been lost in communication. We should find them and understand that because there is a difference both in the design and in the physical space of the building, right? So those would have to also be reconciled somehow. The drawings may help or not. I don't know, but that's the goal, right? Either way, it buys us some time to as a group here to figure out what to do.
If it's happened as a law somewhere,
I will look in the morning and we'll stop down at your house in the morning,
Yeah,
okay?
and I do have a second set, not the hard copy, but the drawing, because that's the way, that's the one I believe is the one we were ongoing the time.
That will get resolved. I'm going to move to close. Move to adjourn. That's the word. Move to adjourn. Second.
Yes.
You do.
I'll second it. Yes.
Okay. All in favor.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. We are adjourned, and I get to do this. Thank you.